Ever since I was a little kid, I always had a fondness for FMV games, full motion video. It was like interacting with a movie, and I thought it was incredible. I first discovered FMV with Dragon's Lair, and in addition to that cabinet, the arcade in one of the malls in my town also had an American Laser Games title that I think was Crime Patrol.
Let's kick some butt.
Welcome to Undercover.
Later, after my family got our first new computer, a Compaq Presario, I became obsessed with Sierra Adventure game titles, especially the ones that featured FMV and digitized graphics like Phantasmagoria. Although most of these games don't hold up, and honestly the bulk of them weren't very good to begin with, anytime there's a new game to come out that features FMV, I'm drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Even with contemporary games that have FMV, I remain skeptical regarding their quality, but when I first heard about Sam Barlow's game Her Story, I found myself excited and intrigued. When the game came out in 2015, I wasn't disappointed, and thankfully I wasn't the only person completely taken with this captivating little piece of interactive fiction. The game puts you, the player, in front of a police computer, searching through an interview database in an attempt to put the pieces together surrounding a mystery involving a woman who may or may not be guilty of murder. You type in keywords into the database and relevant clips will be presented to you. These clips may give you clues as to what to search for next, and you proceed in this fashion until you uncover the complete mystery. Now Barlow is back with the much anticipated follow-up, Telling Lies, a game that takes the core concepts of Her Story and expands upon it many times over. In the game, which is published by Annapurna Interactive, you take on the role of a woman who has obtained a thumb drive containing about 9 hours of footage involving a man named David and the various people he interacts with through his cell phone and computer webcam. Using the included software, it's your job to figure out what's going on here before the feds break down your door. You'll immediately notice the aesthetical upgrade from Her Story, with Telling Lies taking place in modern day, so the virtual desktop you're using has a decidedly flashier OS.
I'm 28, which is pushing it.
The software you use, however, is pretty much the same. You type in some keywords and the software will show you relevant clips to those words. One addition is that you can now highlight pieces of the dialogue and instantly do a search, which comes in handy if you want to quickly move on to the next topic.
Dick who walks in is going to try and mansplain Bohemian Rhapsody to me. I just can't. Just go figure out your own costume, please.
There's a handy notepad app on the computer as well for jotting down items you may think could be important later. As the videos you're watching are only one side of the conversation, it's up to you to fill in the blanks or use context clues to find the matching clip if you want to see the other side of the call. For instance, if David asks a question and then repeats back the response, you might search for that response to find the matching clip. Not only does this add an additional layer to the puzzle, but it puts an emphasis on watching people's reactions. It may be your first instinct to simply fast forward through the bits where the person isn't speaking, but sometimes you gain more insight into that person by watching how they're reacting to what they're being told. Regarding the story overall, I didn't find Telling Lies as intriguing as Her Story, but it's entertaining nonetheless. I would sit down with the intent on searching for just a couple clips, and before I knew it, I spent an hour combing through data trying to piece together this intricate puzzle. I loved the level of immersion in Her Story, where it felt like I was actually accessing an old PC, from the ambient sounds to the ever-present reflection of the CRT. And in Telling Lies, this level of immersion is significantly increased with more random sounds occurring in the background and the inclusion of the protagonist's reflection. As you're searching, sometimes you'll hear some sirens in the distance or the neighbors making some noise. Sometimes your boyfriend will come in and check on you and see if you're okay. It's all these little details that make the overall experience something much more than just watching a series of video clips out of order. And speaking of the clips, this is an area that's been greatly expanded upon as well, with nearly 100 clips encompassing hours of footage. With several main characters to explore, your investigation really boils down to which breadcrumbs you want to follow. The path you choose will also determine which of the 3 epilogues you'll get at the end of the game. Viva Seifert played the only role in Her Story, and she did a brilliant job, but in Telling Lies, there's a more robust cast of actors, including Logan Marshall Green, who you may remember from Lee Whannell's Upgrade, Alexandra Shipp, who was Storm in the more recent X-Men movies, Carrie Bechet, who was in the great TV show *Halt and Catch Fire*, and Angela Serafin, who was in Westworld.
Prince Charming really is a Boy Scout.
The writing is solid for the most part, crafting the dialogue in such a way that it's easily believable that these people are having short video chat conversations with one another. And there's a fair amount of extraneous chit chat as well, which helps hammer in the realism while feeding us small morsels of these people's personalities, with each segment giving us a glimpse as to who they are, even if it doesn't pertain to the overall narrative. Certainly, Telling Lies is a unique experience that won't be for every gamer out there. There's no fail state to speak of, and some may find the central loop of searching for clips and watching clips to be too dry, but I found everything about it to be such an endearing mystery that even after I reached the end, I went back and searched some more to fill in some of the blanks that I still had. While I might still think that my time with Her Story was more rewarding, I think part of that was simply because I didn't know what to expect from that game, so it all came as a surprise. Telling Lies does feel much like the same thing, but the bigger narrative and interesting new techniques used add enough flavor to prevent the mechanics from feeling stale. If you're looking for a fun and intriguing interactive narrative experience, I can definitely recommend picking up Telling Lies, especially if you were a fan of Her Story. It's currently $19.99 on Steam, which I think is a fair price. That's going to do it for this review. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what upcoming games you want to see me cover. And for all things film, check out filmpulse.net. Don't forget to do that like and subscribe thing. My name's Adam Patterson, and I'll see you next time.
My vagina's superficial.